This story is true. A story that happened to a girl who took a seemingly normal Uber ride, but that ride turned out to be her last. The incident occurred in 2019 in South Carolina, USA, but this isn't just their issue, it's the concern of every girl who rides home alone at night. My name is Alicia. I live in London and study at University College London. It was a cold March night. Midterm break had started, and before heading back to the hostel, I partied with some friends. Around 11:30 p.m., I booked an Uber. The driver's name was Paul in a white Toyota Prius. Good ratings. I felt comfortable. I wore my coat, checked my phone, and stepped outside. Just a few steps from my hostel, a white car pulled up. The driver rolled down the line. "Alicia, for UCL hostel?" I nodded and got in. Everything seemed normal. The driver was quiet, maybe tired. I thought, good, this will be a peaceful ride. But soon the route began to change. I opened my maps. He was going a completely different direction. I asked, "Excuse me, this isn't the route shown in the app." After a moment of silence, he said, "The app's glitching. I'm taking a shortcut." My heart started racing. I checked my phone. The Uber app was closed. I quickly texted my friend, "Something's wrong. I think I'm in the wrong car." The message didn't send. No signal. The car was now driving into an abandoned industrial area. Darkness, broken roads, shut down warehouses. I said, "Let me out right now." The driver remained silent. Then he stopped the car. I heard the door lock click, and he turned to face me. His eyes were red. His smile was terrifying. "You weren't supposed to be in my car, Alicia, but now that you are, let's make this interesting." I tried opening the door. It was locked. I screamed, kicked, fought. He pulled out a cloth, probably soaked in chloroform. But just then, I grabbed my keys and jabbed them into his eye with full force. He screamed, the car swerved. I tried the door again. This time, it opened. I jumped out, barefoot, running. Cold ground, darkness, and that car slowly creeping behind me. I hid behind the corner of a warehouse. I held my breath. Footsteps approached, then the light of a flashlight, and then a police siren. Someone had heard the commotion, maybe my screams. The driver tried to run, but he was caught. The police asked, "You got into his car?" That car was reported stolen. The real Uber was waiting a block away. The driver was arrested, and during the investigation, it was revealed that he was mentally unstable. He had attempted similar acts in the past. According to the police, he had planned to take Alicia to a specific location, isolated and untraceable. During the arrest, he confessed that he intended to keep Alicia captive and perform psychological experiments on her. The police found disturbing items in his flat: women's clothing, fake Uber signs, mobile SIMs registered under false names, and a notebook filled with his twisted plans. The police report stated that Alicia was a random target. Her real Uber was 5 minutes late that night, and this man was waiting for an opportunity. He often wandered near hostels. When Alicia testified in court, the room fell silent. She said, "I'm alive, but a part of my soul died that night." The police praised Alicia's bravery, and she was invited to lead safety awareness programs at universities. Her story is now told as a warning. Face the truth. Services like Uber offer convenience, but darkness can hide in rides that don't show on the app or seem real. Girls like Samantha Josephson remind us that one small mistake can cost a life. Learnings for you. Always check the license plate. Match the driver's face with the app. Open the car door yourself and ask, "Who are you here to pick up?" I am Alicia, and even today when an Uber arrives, I can still hear the screams from that night. I can never forget that night. Not because it was extraordinary, but because something about it was strange. Not just strange, terrifying. This isn't some random semi-formal night. It happened on a night at the end of our college semester when I was returning home after a late-night party, exhausted, craving nothing but my bed. I opened the Uber app and booked a ride. The driver's name showed up as Eric. Clean, ordinary from the outside, but what I didn't know was that something very unordinary was waiting for me inside. It was around 1:47 a.m. The streets were empty, the cold wind slicing across my cheeks, and there was a silence, the kind that feels like something is about to go wrong. The party noise was far behind me now. Friends' laughter, loud music, all gone. The only thing I could hear was silence. My Uber arrived within minutes. I opened the door. Inside, it was dimly lit. "Eric?" I asked. He just nodded with a faint smile. That smile, not friendly, not tired, but like he knew me. I shrugged it off, buckled my seatbelt, and got in the back seat. We started driving. Moments passed in total silence. Only the soft hum of the engine and the whisper of wind outside. And then he broke it. "We've met before." His voice shattered the silence like glass. My spine stiffened. I chuckled awkwardly. "I don't think so. You probably have me confused with someone else." He just smiled again, the exact same creepy smile, and turned the car toward a deserted road. I had my GPS on. A few minutes later, I noticed we weren't going the usual way. My home's the other direction. Where are you going?" He replied slowly, "Maps aren't always right. Some roads show you fear before they take you home." What? What does that even mean? "Pull over. I want to cancel this ride," I said, trying to keep calm. I reached for my phone, and just like that, no signal. No mobile network, no Wi-Fi. I tried again. No service. Now panic was crawling under my skin. My palms were sweaty, heart pounding in my ears. We were on an unfamiliar road. No lights, no people, no houses, just a never-ending stretch of black. He finally stopped the car beside an abandoned building. It looked like an old school. Rusted gates, broken windows, moss-covered walls. Why did you bring me here?" My voice trembled. Eric whispered, "This is where you hid last time. You escaped back then, but not this time." I reached for the door. It was locked. He turned off the headlights. Total darkness swallowed us. The only thing I could see were his eyes glowing faintly in the dark. My mind was racing. Suddenly, a memory hit me. A recurring nightmare I used to have last year. I was trapped in an old building. Rain pouring outside. A man staring at me. His eyes burning. I screamed, ran, but never escaped. This was the same place. The same man. Had I been here before? Was this déjà vu? Or was I dead? Then it hit me. Last year, I had a car accident in an Uber. I survived, barely, but people said my heart had stopped for a few moments. Did I see something back then? And now, was it coming back to claim me? Oris? Suddenly, the car door swung open by itself. I jumped out and ran with everything I had. Couldn't see a thing, but I hid behind some bushes behind the building. Heart racing, breath short, sweat pouring. Then I heard him. His voice, too close. "Daniel, you can't escape. I'm inside you. In every night, in every dream." I checked my phone again. Signal restored. I quickly dialed 911. The police arrived a few minutes later, but there was no car, no Eric, not even tire marks. The police dropped me home. By morning, I was still shaking. I called Uber's customer support and told them everything. They called me back after 2 hours. "Sir, there was no ride booked on your account last night, and the car you're referring to, a black Prius driven by Eric Waller, was totaled in a crash 3 months ago. The driver died in that accident." My voice froze. All I could hear, echoing in my mind, "We've met before." I visited that building again, this time during daylight. Same broken gate, same rust, same emptiness. I went to the local library and did some digging. In 2002, there was an unregistered private cab service. One night, a young man died in a car crash nearby. The driver's name? Eric. Officially missing to this day. Since then, that building has remained abandoned. People have reported seeing a black car pulling up at night. Someone enters it, but no one ever comes out. I've stopped using Uber. If someone tells you their name is Eric, don't trust them. They're not here to take you somewhere. They've come to take you back. And if you're reading this at night, make sure your door is locked. And if you see Eric next time when you book a ride, cancel the trip. It happened on a night when all I needed was a simple Uber ride. I just wanted to get home, to rest. I wasn't expecting anything strange or unusual. But what happened that night changed everything I believed in. My sense of sleep, safety, and even reality. I've tried telling this story before. People laugh, or they just nod and change the topic, but I swear it's true. I'm not lying. It was just a regular Uber ride that never really ended. To Mota. Cold nights aren't common in Houston, but that night the chill felt strange, almost unnatural. I had just walked out of a late-night editing studio, laptop in hand, bag over my shoulder, and all I wanted was to get home as fast as possible. It was 2:11 a.m. The streets were empty, my legs were numb from exhaustion. I opened the Uber app, one car available, a black Nissan Altima. Driver's name, Ruben. Rating, 4.9 stars, only 3 minutes away. I requested the ride. The app read, Ruben is on the way. 1 minute passed, then 2, 5, 10, but no car showed up. I hit the call button. This number is not in service. Weird, but I was too tired to care. I waited. Suddenly, a car pulled in from the opposite street. A black Nissan Altima, just like the app showed. I opened the door. Inside was a thin man, maybe in his 40s. He wore foggy glasses, and there was something off about his face, like he hadn't slept in days. I hesitated and asked, Ruben? He slowly nodded and replied in a whisper, You're the last one tonight. Taste. The moment I sat down, silence filled the car like a fog. The interior was spotless, yet there was a strange smell, like damp paper, old plaster, and rotting wood. Ruben didn't speak. No greeting, no mention of the destination. He just started driving. I opened Google Maps. We should have reached in 20 minutes, but 10 minutes in, I noticed something wrong. We were going in the opposite direction. Ruben, this isn't the way to my house. He softly said, Some roads we don't choose. They choose us. I stared at him. His hands were stiff on the steering wheel, like they had hardened into wood. His lips were moving, but his eyes, they were completely still. I started to panic. I grabbed the door handle. It was locked. What is this? Where are you taking me? He repeated the same line. You're the last one. Taste, taste, taste. We were now driving through a place I had never seen, not on the map, not in real life. Dead trees lined the road. No signs, no lights, only abandoned ruins around. No birds, no animals, just silence. Eventually, we stopped in front of a large, decaying building. Maybe an old train station or a factory. The car engine cut off. Ruben slowly turned toward me. His eyes were glassy, tired, as if even he didn't want to be here anymore. This is your stop, he whispered. I stepped out, shivering. My breath came out in mist. The cold had intensified. The car drove away. No headlights, no sound, just vanished. And there I was, alone in front of the abandoned building. It was pitch dark outside, but a dim light glowed from inside. I stepped in. The walls were damp, the air heavy. Old papers, photos, and ledgers littered the floor. I picked up a framed photo. A young boy's face stared back at me. Below it was a name. Missing, Hakeem J. Last seen, April 2021. My hands trembled. That was me. I tried to turn around, but my neck stiffened. Ahead was a dusty mirror. I looked into it. The face staring back wasn't mine. It was Ruben's. I screamed, or tried to. The sound choked in my throat. My body felt numb, heavy, as if I was sinking into the floor. The light began to dim. The walls blurred into fog. The room twisted and changed, turning into a cold, stone chamber, like time itself was reversing. Then, I felt a hand on my shoulder. I turned around. Ruben was standing there, but he wasn't human anymore. His face was soaked in dirt, eyes hollow, and his lips curled into a lifeless grin. Now it's your turn, he whispered. Moments later, I woke up, but I wasn't myself anymore. I was in the driver's seat, my hands locked around the steering wheel. A young man sat in the back, probably returning from some late-night party. He looked confused. Where are we going? This isn't my way. I lowered my head and said softly, You're the last one tonight. Since that night, I've questioned my own existence. Who am I? Hakeem? Or something else? I stay awake most nights, and sometimes I hear Ruben's voice echo in the dark. This wasn't your last ride, it was your first. It was my last night of vacation in Dallas, Texas. Around 1:20 a.m., I left a friend's birthday party. I wasn't drunk, completely sober, just tired. My only thought was to get back to the hotel and sleep. I opened the Uber app and booked a ride, a white Toyota Camry. Driver's name, Ronald. Rating, 4.9. The car was just 3 minutes away. The car arrived on time. I checked the license plate. It matched perfectly. I got in. The driver glanced back, gave a faint smile, and simply said, "Late night, huh?" I smiled back. "Yeah, long day." The car started moving. The route seemed calm and I was casually scrolling through Instagram. But soon I noticed something strange. The car was heading in the wrong direction. I said, "Hey, I think you missed the turn." Silence. I raised my voice. "Excuse me, sir. The turn was back there." Still, no response. I leaned forward and saw the driver was wearing AirPods. I waved my hand to get his attention. Nothing. He just kept driving. No GPS, no navigation, just driving. I opened the Uber app again, checked the location. We were no longer in the city. No lights, no buildings, nothing. What the hell? I tried to make a call, but my phone had no signal. I reached for the door. It was locked. Windows, too, jammed. Suddenly, the car veered off the road onto a rugged, deserted path, surrounded by thick bushes, pitch black on every side. I shouted, "Stop the car! This isn't the right way!" The driver glanced at me for a brief second, and that's when I saw his eyes. Completely black. No white, just darkness. That's when it hit me. I wasn't with a human. I was with something else. The car stopped in front of an old, decaying house, completely abandoned, half-broken doors, iron bars over the windows. The driver turned off the engine and softly said, "You need to come inside." I replied, "No, just take me back." He said it again, louder this time. "Come inside. You've already been chosen." Every part of me trembled. I tried the door again, and somehow it opened. I ran. Ran towards the road, but the darkness was so thick I couldn't even see the ground under my feet. I looked back. The man was outside the house now. Or maybe he wasn't a man. He wasn't standing on the ground, he was floating above it, and his eyes were pulling me in. I kept running. No idea where I was, no direction. Suddenly, a truck appeared. It had police markings. I waved desperately, screamed, "Help, please!" An officer stepped out, looked at me and said, "Where the hell did you come from? This road's been closed for 15 years. They took me to the police station. I told them everything, the Uber ride, the driver, the house. They checked the location, no house. That road didn't even exist on Google Maps. And on my Uber app, there was no ride history. But one thing remained on my phone, a screenshot. "Your driver, Ronald, has arrived." A few days later, I returned to my home city. One night, while I was trying to sleep, a notification popped up on my phone. "Ronald is arriving now." I deleted Uber, did a full phone reset. But every Friday night, it happens again. Now, I don't sleep. I don't use ride shares. And if a white Toyota Camry ever stops near you, check the license plate. And if the driver's name is Ronald, don't get in. It's not just a ride, it's a trap. A ride based on reality, and an empty car that is never truly empty. After this event, I went through psychiatric treatment. Doctors diagnosed it as PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. But no one seems to understand. When you see something that doesn't belong to this world, how is the human brain supposed to process it? I still have nightmares. I'm back in that same car. Sometimes Ronald is in the back seat, sometimes beside me. Sometimes I'm the one driving, and the passenger asks, "Are you Ronald?" My life is now a living nightmare. Uber, Lyft, any rideshare, they feel like invitations to death. A few days ago, a friend told me he sat in a white car with a silent driver. I asked for the license plate. It was the same. Now that friend is missing. And I'm writing this now, hoping maybe someone else will be saved. Remember, some rides don't take you anywhere. They just take